Hogwarts Legacy transports players back into the wizarding world of 1800, and while a lot has changed, several of the core spells and abilities have not. Here are all the charms we know about so far. Whether you are an avid fan of Wizarding World universe or are simply intrigued to see what the next generation of Harry Potter-inspired games will look like, Hogwarts Legacy is slowly cementing itself as one of the 2022's must-plays. Following the game's PlayStation State of Play showcase, the hype is at an all-time high. The players finally catching up a glimpse of Portuguese virtual recreations of some of pop culture's most iconic vistas. A Harry Potter game wouldn't be complete without a whole plethora of spells and abilities, though here are all the different charms, jinxes, hexes, and curses we know will be available in Hogwarts Legacy. While we have only seen a sneak peek into Hogwarts Legacy's spellbook abilities, can broadly be split into three categories: offensive, defensive, and finishers. So number 1, defensive spells and abilities. As you can guess from the name, defensive spells are all about minimizing the amount of damage a player takes in battle. There are a few spells like Protego. It deflects incoming spells away from the user. Rockchain Potion. It reduces incoming damage. Vision Well Potion. Heals or increase health. Focus Potion. It speeds up spell called cooldowns. Mandrake Plant. It stuns enemies around the player. Number 2, offensive or attacking spells and abilities. The offensive spells are the ones you will learn about in Defensive against the Dark Arts, but whether you choose to use them or not is entirely up to you. Accio. It pulls enemies through the air towards you and breaks purple shields. Levoso. Lifts enemies into the air and breaks yellow shields. Descendo. Launch an enemy up in the air and then slam the black down to earth. Lumos. Lights the end of the wind. Incendio. Sets an enemy on fire. Obungo. Causes an object to fly at enemy. Petrifiches Totalis. Looks enemies in full body bind, freezing them in a place and oftentimes when shooting them. Defendo. It slices enemies and objects. Confrigo. Causing an explosion on the enemy. Abracadabra. Instantly kills enemy. Imperio. Makes an enemy fight for you. Crucio. Locks an enemy in place and deals continuous damage. And there are some unknown spells which transforms into energy to zip around the battlefield. Venomous Tentacular Plant. It spits poison at enemies which damages them over time. Number 3, essential spells. Essential spells are spells players can learn and use outside of the combat. Essential spells are integral to progressing through the certain side quest and story missions. Spell Revelio. Reveals concealed and hidden objects, messages, etc. Last but not least, finisher spells. It sets your enemy ablaze and slams them into a bulb. Round it all off with a devastating finisher to make sure that they don't get up to any more mischief. Well, we don't know the names of these devastating abilities just yet. Here is a rundown of what they do. Finisher 1. It summons lightning strike from above to completely destroy enemies. Finisher 2. Picks enemies up and slams them around before dealing a deadly final blow. So that's all the 3 different spells and abilities we know about in Hogwarts Legacy so far. So that's a wrap for this video.